Alright guys, check it out. Before I forget, the drive shaft is off. It's marked, so I know how it goes back in with our exhaust. So only thing we got to work on now is the starter and then some of the bolts from underneath. So kind of how we're looking. You guys see. Alright guys, we are on our starter now. Just a tight squeeze to get this off. I should have taken this out of the way, but anyways, not really a big deal. Starter comes off, and we've already gotten everything else off. We can work on our transmission bolts around the bell housing here all the way to, the top two I got, but besides that, that's it. And then obviously the transmission mount that's holding it in place. So yeah, that's where we're at. All right guys, check it out. So we have our starter out. I got it right here. Pretty cool. Everything is disconnected. I'm gonna go ahead and label my nuts, or my bolts. My nuts and my pants. But yeah, check this out. So we have our bolts off the bell housing on our transmission. Gotta disconnect the clutch line, and then the transmission mount that's holding the transmission, the shifter housing, just those two, and then we can shift this that way and then lower the transmission and deal with this pesky clips, because those are pretty annoying to pop off. Besides that, the only issue now is I need to have a transmission mount so I can actually not drop this on myself and die under the car, because it's just me, no one else, just me here. So I'm gonna order that real quick. So there's a little delay there now, but since I'm not Superman, I know I got the strength to hold this up and then move it like a baby. So besides that, we are pretty good. So anybody that wants to do their own transmission, own clutch, you could do it yourself. You don't really need anybody. It's pretty simple to do this kind of jobs. It's just the patience, and just be ready to jam your fingers in places and cut yourself pretty good. Yeah, besides that, it's pretty fun. So this is where we're at, guys. Hopefully I can get the mounts ready, and we can get this. I've already ordered the necessary parts, the flywheel and clutch. So all I'll be doing really is the reversal of everything I just did, to install everything back in place, and hopefully it runs good without any issues. We have a transmission coming off. Would you look at that? It's a little rusted in there, but not bad. I have this thing off here, and then tomorrow will be nice to kind of get the clutch off, and then the flywheel, and after that, install new parts and redo what we undid, if that makes sense. The reversal of everything I just did. Alright guys, check it out. So we have our clutch kit right here, and we're running the V8 clutch kit and flywheel on our V6 Mustang. So with that, for the slave, we need to push it up closer, because the flywheel, the V8 flywheel is much smaller, and the V6 has like a dual, so it's way thicker. So this is the spacer right here, and it comes with a bolt that you need to run right behind there. This is our flywheel. Cool. Our V8 flywheel, and our clutch kit, our clutch itself right here. There you go. So how cool is that? We our alignment tool right there. We're looking good. So on the next video, guys, we're gonna be installing this bad boy, clean it up, obviously with brake cleaner, this and this first, and then we'll line all this up. We got our new bolts to go with it, our pressure plate. Again, this is for V8, so any of you V6 guys, this is not for your V6. And then flywheel. So pretty cool. So we can get this installed and get our car back on the road. Alright guys, we have our clutch off, and we're looking at our flywheel right here. So I'm in an awkward position here, but able to get it out of the clutch out. Look at that. Oh, that flywheel was, hold on. All right, guys. So we have our clutch off. You guys can tell. So the flywheel looks definitely done for. So yeah. So everything's looking pretty crazy. But we're done. So all the insides. Everything is rusted in there. I'm not sure why it's so rusty looking. Huh? Oh, that's cool. And here's our clutch. Our fried clutch. When I was cracking it open, all the dust came out. Let me know what you guys think. But look at that. Boy, I cooked my shit. So guys, so this is the new one that's going in. How cool. Of course, and the new flywheel. Oh, shit's heavy. And this is our old one. It's the beat up one. It's the one that broke on us. So you can tell. Look at that. How it looks. Pretty bad compared to how it's supposed to look. No burning, no hot spots on our clutch pressure plate. So yeah. All right, guys, check that out. We have our flywheel off. How cool is that? Just that little bearing right in the center. We got to remove that before we reinstall our new flywheel and clutch kit. So yeah, that's how it looks without the flywheel. And guys, here is our flywheel that we just took off. And is this? I put my feet. It's a dual flywheel. I don't think that's supposed to move like that by itself. So this is our replacement flywheel. This is off the V8. So that's the difference. V6 and V8 flywheel. So how cool is that? Now we just gotta redo everything we undo basically. We're gonna install this. Install our clutch kit, the bearing and all that stuff, and we'll be good to go, hopefully. Bro, that bearing was a bitch to take out of there. Oh my God, look at that. Oh, that's out of there. Wow. And we out. And here's our new part right there. And our old part we just took off. That was fun to pull out. Cool. All right, guys, check this out. We have our flywheel on the car. Look at that. Our flywheel is on. How cool. I just gotta clean it now, but flywheel is on. All right, guys, check it out. We have our clutch kit on our flywheel. How cool is that? Everything looks great. Everything lines up in there. So yeah, now it's getting this shit on here. That's gonna be interesting. But besides that, the clutch job is done. This is it. Everything is set correctly, hopefully. Fingers crossed, I guess. All right, guys, check it out. We have the transmission on. Got a few bell housing bolts on, just a couple to go, but as you can tell, it's up. It's bolted on here. So yeah, I just got to put the exhaust on, bleed the clutch, and fingers crossed. Check it out. We got the car working back. I can actually drive it again. How cool is that? Alright, guys, so we're putting back our exhaust. So our brand new part is installed, thank God. So that gives the car a longer life. So yeah, just this on and we are done. Do a little test drive up and down, and yeah, but the clutch, flywheel, all that install has been done. When we go for a drive, we'll see if anything pops up. Obviously I got to drive it light for, I don't know if it's 700 miles or a couple miles before I can beat on it, which I'm not gonna do. All right, guys, we made it to work with no issue. So that's a clutch job.